Hey guys, this is Steel City EDC, and today we're going to do a quick overview on the Strider Knives SnG. Now this one is a double gunner grip, or DGG, and I believe the correct variation is tie because it's a full titanium version. So here we go. Now this one is a 3/4 grind, which refers to where the blade comes up to. Some of them have the full flat grinds, which is lovely, but I prefer the 3/4 with the grind lines, and it's hollow ground. It's a really steep convex in there, so it's like a razor behind the edge, but you still get a really thick, solid blade. This is the third largest in mixed Striders lineup. It's the PT first, then I think it's the JWA, I might be wrong. Then it's this one. Then you have the SMF, which is a bit bigger, and then you have the XL. And of course there are customs. I think customs are generally SMF size or XL size, but I guess the customs, so they can be anything. I've had this one for about a year now. Absolutely love it. The blade's in Magna Cuts. Really smooth. I think I grew up, for the last kind of like 10, 15 years, I've been into knives and EDC, before EDC was even a thing. I heard all the stories about mixed Strider and the being off center and the lock stick. This is perfectly centered, no lock stick whatsoever. In fact, you can see where we are there. It's just wonderful, super smooth. You can easily thumb roll it. You can actually, there you go, give it a little bit, and there you go, flicks out. Although I believe you're not really supposed to do that. So I think from what I understand from being members of several of the Strider communities, the newer versions haven't had some of the problems that the older versions had, and I suspect that's due to improved machining and techniques and tolerances and stuff like that. Constant improvements, I guess, and that's kind of where he's got to. So super nice. They're quite rare because they are the double gunner grip, and you can see that kind of texturing on there. Really, really impressive. I think the thumb holes on these are just right. When I first had one or saw them, I thought this was the thumb stud, but it's not. That's just a blade stop for there. It's all about the thumb hole, and it works so well. I've always loved thumb studs, but man, I've got to tell you, these thumb holes really work much better. So yeah, really, really impressed with this. I'm going to do a quick length, and then I'll do a size comparison. In fact, let's turn it sideways for this so it's easier to see. I'm just going to put it right to the tip of the blade there, right to the end, so you can see that is 21 centimeters, which is 8 1/4 inches. In terms of the blade length, you've got pretty much, if we take it up so we can see the end of the scales, 9 centimeters pretty much on the dots, the end of those scales. Of course, your cutting edge is a bit less, so your cutting edge is 7.5 centimeters, which is reasonable. You've got lots of hand room. You've got this whole scale, which is 12 centimeters. But really, it comes up to there, up to the end of the choil, which takes you to just under 13 centimeters. So a really good size. Lots of real estate for your hands to move around. Choke up here, it's really good. To be honest, there isn't much I would change about these. One thing I would change is this sharpening choil here. In my opinion, it just isn't needed, and I would have brought the blade edge all the way down to here, with a tiny, just sharpening choil, like 1/4 of that size. Not that would give you much extra blade. Fair, I'm not suggesting it make a big difference, but it's probably like 1/4 centimeter. And I suppose it all adds up when you've got a full-size knife with lots of hand room. I've got large hands, size large gloves. You can see there's lots of spare space here. I would have just gone for that little bit extra cutting edge. I love the full cut out here of the choil. That really gives you lots of space to choke up. But yeah, I think that's too much. Anyway, just my personal opinion. Loads of people may disagree or agree. Let me know what you think. It's always good to take other opinions. I'm going to do a few size comparisons. So let's start off with another SnG. Now, obviously it's going to be the identical size, as you can see. This is the performance version, it's a Tanto. The reason I've got this out is so you can see the scale thickness and the difference there. The blade, the stock is the same thickness. You can see the difference in scales. And that's because this is milled out. So it's not just texture, but it's been milled out. So it's more like the CC where it's been rounded off. If I put it there, you can kind of see how it's thicker in the middle and it goes out. So now, uncommon opinion, I actually prefer the thicker scales, and I believe they call this the Lego version because it's chunky and boxy. Personal preference again. Please don't shoot me for it, guys. But that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. So I just prefer this. I'm not knocking this in any way. I just prefer the slightly thicker scales. So that's why I wanted to do that size comparison. Now I'm going to do a size comparison with the SMF, which is the larger brother. There you go, put them kind of neck and neck. As again, you can see, there's a difference, but it's not massive. And the SMF is, again, a bit thicker, as you can see. Even more real estate for the handle, slightly more cutting edge, about 1 centimetre. Anyway, so we'll put the SMF back. Now, a few size comparisons for non-Strider knives. So let's start off with the trusted and classic Swiss Army knife. Now, this is an Alox Pioneer. So again, you can see the size difference. The amazing thing for me is if you look at the amount of cutting edge, and I am not comparing these in terms of, like for like, because they are a world away in terms of uses. But actually, you've got fairly similar amounts of, in fact, I'm slightly out there. You've got proportionately, the cutting edge is much more similar than everything else. The ratios are there. So I was quite surprised when I saw that. Of course, I'm not suggesting this Swiss Army knife is any kind of competitor to the legendary Strider SnG. So we'll put it up next to a couple of others. So here I've got the Hindra XM18 3.5. This is a spear point, and I've got the Eclipse, full size, also in a spear point. So let's just line those up nice and evenly. There you go, and you can see very similar sizes. The XM18 does have a bit more cutting edge and a slightly longer blade. The Eclipse has even more. And if I turn this round, it probably becomes even more apparent. So again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying this is a better knife. It's not about that. It's just a comparison. But you can see the cutting edge is really comes to where the choil ends there. Of course, you haven't got quite as much real estate on the Eclipse. So let's take that away and let's just do a cutting edge next to the XM18 3.5. Again, you see very little in it, a tiny bit more here. Very similar knives in lots of respects. In terms of their, full tie, big, solid, robust, overbuilt, designed for hard tactical use. I don't want to harp on particularly about lots of other knives. It was about the Strider. I'm just doing these size comparisons. So here we go with a Chris Reeves large Sebenza. Again, similar kind of size. Let's flip her over so we can look at the cutting edge. I know that's what a lot of people like. And of course the real estate on the scales. So again, you can see you've got that extra centimetre of cutting edge here. No surprise, and again, I think the large Sebenza and the SnG probably do have different uses in mind. This is much more of a general all-around folder, whereas the Strider is designed to be much more tactical and hard use. We have the Curtis. This is an F3 medium. And again, So the F3 medium is a little bit smaller than the SnG. And there we go. Very similar amount of cutting edge. And again, a great folder this, but you know, we're not here to review that today. Just out of interest, I don't know if anyone knew, but the SnG, if anyone's seen what it stands for, if anyone's seen the film or read the book Black Hawk Down, about the Americans going into Mogadishu, there were two incredibly brave, I believe they were Delta Force soldiers, and I think I'm going to say the names right, but please forgive me if I don't, as I am an ex-soldier, an ex-infantryman, so I've got nothing but respect for the armed forces. So if I get the names wrong, it's a purely slip of the tongue. I believe it's Shakart and Gordon, or Gorty, as they call them. So SnG, and that's why it's a capital S, lowercase n, capital G, and it's the SnG stands for their initials. And those two incredibly brave heroes volunteered to effectively land in hostile territory to try and rescue, or if not rescue, at least keep alive a downed Black Hawk helicopter pilot. And unfortunately, they both lost their lives in the line of duty. So I think it's incredibly moving that, you know, this amazing knife tool is named after those two heroes. Anyway, here we go. This is the Spartan Harsi folder, a slightly larger knife. And if we line it up there, you can see a little bit bigger. And just as a comparison, actually, because I put this slightly larger one in, I'm just going to bring the SMF back and line those up nice and neat. And you can see the Spartan Harsi folder really is a much more similar size to the SMF. But let's take that out now I've shown you. And we'll just spin this round. And there we go. Okay, so size comparisons over. I hope that was interesting. I'm going to do a quick weigh of this so you can see how much it weighs. I have my scales here. Just get them spinned up, turned on. And let's do this two ways. So in grams, we are talking about, I don't know if you can see that clearly, that's 128 grams. If we move it over to, or kilograms is an obvious conversion. What I wanted is pounds and ounces, so it's 4.5. Yeah, there you go, 4.5. And that is substantially lighter than the other ones, like the Lego one, because of all the milling in the scales. I mean, titanium is a fairly lightweight metal, but it's very tough and hard. Well, it's not hard actually, it's very tough. But nonetheless, it's still metal and it still weighs. So yeah, so there you go. These cost, I believe, and again, if I'm wrong, don't quote me, because I bought this second hand. It was literally a week old. Someone had bought it, had hard times, and I managed to buy it. I believe brand new, these cost, I think it's $750. But again, if I'm wrong, tell me, guys. Do correct me in the comments. Let me know. No insults or offences intended if the price is wrong. I just didn't buy this brand new, so it's hard to say. Needless to say, it cost me substantially more than that. Final thoughts on this knife. Absolutely freaking love it. Just amazing. Yeah, can't recommend it high enough. It took me many years to understand striders and really to get into them. And I've had a few now, and I just think they are phenomenal. I am a bit of an OCD weirdo. So for me, I like the matchy tie scales. And my OCD really struggles to go with the G10 show side and the tie lock side, or the tie lock side and the aluminium show side. Now, that's not saying there's anything wrong with those. It's just a personal preference thing. So I think I'm going to end this kind of overview there. I hope you've enjoyed this. I've absolutely loved owning this one. Can't recommend it highly enough. The Strider SnG double gunner grip in full tie. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please do remember to subscribe. I'm a small channel. I'd like to grow, so so that would mean the world to me. Give me a like, leave me your comments. I'll reply to every comment I get. It may not be straight away, but I will reply. And I'd love to know your thoughts on this. If you think the content is good, the style, the presentation, good, bad, ugly, whatever it is, let me know. It's always good to know. Every day is a school day. Okay, thanks guys. Have a wonderful weekend and catch you later. Bye bye.